Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
You need 10. Play clock at 4. From the pocket. Launching downfield. Underthrown and intercepted. Keely Ringo has an escort down the sidelines. All the way to the end zone. And Georgia is going to conquer the Crimson Tide.
What a finish last night to the national championship game. 41 years of futility for Georgia Bulldog fans. Finally, the moment comes, and it comes at the expense of their chief rival and nemesis, Alabama and Nick Saban, as Georgia wins the national championship 33-18. And somewhere Herschel Walker is dancing. Every Georgia fan not sleep last night. It was quite an accomplishment, and so many great storylines in this game last night. The most of which, obviously, Stetson Bennett, the quarterback, which will certainly a game and a career that will go down in Georgia history as the everyman who led Georgia to the national championship. It's kind of ironic that a team that has been loaded with first-round picks and incredible talent for so long and could not get over the hump is led to the national championship by a walk-on while a five-star JT Daniels sits on the bench and watches. That's a very interesting storyline to be sure. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show. We're brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can reach him at palermopa.com. Nick Geddes, Outkick.com, joining me here. It wasn't a Picasso. 9-6 at halftime, no touchdowns till the fourth quarter, but I think it will go down as one of the more memorable national championship games.
Yeah, really picked up the pace in the third quarter. Yeah. If you were thinking it was nap time in the first half, potentially for some of you out there, but
kind of was.
I told you, though, that's my kind of brand of football. And that was my first thing that jumped off the page was the speed and the physicality that was on that field last night.
Every tackle was just an all-out physical assault on whoever had the ball. I mean, that was more physical than any NFL game I think I've seen all year.
I was trying to think. Wow. I'm like, I have to go back and look at some of the past national championship games, but I can't recall a game that's had this many NFL players on both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, you got at least 6 guys on that Georgia defense that are going first round.
There was a Miami FSU game back in the 90s that had, I think, 7 or 8 first round picks. But I think Georgia, they said, has 6 first round picks on their side alone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, the talent out there was just unbelievable. And the physicality was, Georgia's defensive line and Alabama, the speed of Alabama's defensive line, the speed and the size of these guys out there last night was just incredible.
I just love the way, like, the first half, it's like they were really, like, they felt each other out for the entire half. And both quarterbacks were really safe because neither team could run the ball to save their life. I mean, both in the trenches, you could not do anything. They found success later on, both teams did. But that first half, man, it was just like, who's going to blink first?
And they put, I think one of the absolute microcosm of this game was when they put Jordan Davison on the goal line. And the 88, the tight end, or whatever, 285 pounds as a fullback. And they stuff it in, Georgia stuffs it into the end zone with about 12,000 pounds of humanity going to one hole in them, and they just kept replaying it. Just look at this. This is just gladiator football, humanity smashing into humanity. You got no, and there was this one little linebacker for Alabama. He looked so small, number 10. Forget his name. Just look like a dude. Do not even go there. Don't even try to get into that hole. You're going to be destroyed. It was an interesting game to watch, even though there wasn't incredible scoring for 3 quarters. It was just physical, fun football to watch. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I think there was maybe not as much buzz for that game, but I think once the game started, first of all, that felt like a Georgia home game. I swear there was like 80% Georgia fans in there, which I guess I expected that. They've been waiting a long time for this moment as we watched Jamison Williams. That no doubt played a huge part in that game.
Yeah, well, they lost, 2-3 1,000-yard receivers in the last
Yeah,
part of the
John
season.
Mechie was already out going in, and then we mentioned it. Ajayi Hall from Valrico over here was forced to step in, made some plays, had a few drops, but true freshman, it's hard for you to just step in and
a moment like that. Are you kidding me?
Against those corners?
Yeah, like what, where, what, how, what? Yeah, that was a tough place, but I think he afforded himself quite well there. Yeah, but the story is Stetson Bennett. The story is Stetson Bennett. I mean, here's a guy that, grew up a Georgia fan. I mean, he's all, 5'11", 195 maybe. He doesn't have a big arm, but he's pretty efficient at what he does. Made the big mistake with that kind of rollout and when he tries to throw the ball. Looked like I knew it was a fumble right away because it clearly came out of his hand. And then the Alabama player was kind of nonchalanting it instead of trying to jump on it. But turns out that he got it just as he went out of bounds. I mean, that was a weird call, but it was a huge call. I mean, that could have been the way Georgia lost the game, and that would have been horrible.
I thought that was it for Georgia because you saw the entire crowd just wouldn't let it go. I mean, they booed that call for about 10 minutes. I know you said you couldn't hear the telecast, but they were booing that forever, and it seemed like Georgia couldn't get over it. I'm like, here we go. But Stetson Bennett, watched him on the sideline. He was cool. He was calm, and he got back out there, and they were ripping it the next drive.
Yeah, that throw he made to Mitchell, A.D. Mitchell in the corner. I mean, Mitchell makes a great play, but that was a well-placed football. I mean, that's about the only place he could have placed it to get the touchdown. Then the throw to Bowers, on the blitz, he got a free blitzer coming off the edge. You got to get rid of that ball, and he just lofted over. And I mean, it looks like kind of an easy play, but it's not. When you turn like that and defender's right in your face, you got to get that ball over the top of him. That was a very athletic play, and that was third down. They're going to settle for a field goal if he doesn't make that play right there. So he made huge plays to come back and win that game. It wasn't just like he got carried to this national championship. He made huge plays.
Well, he has a gamer quality to him.
He really does. He really does.
I bang on Taylor Heineke a lot on this telecast a lot, but he kind of reminds you of Taylor Heineke to a point.
Yeah, he's got limited skills, but what he has, he uses, and he doesn't quit. Because it could have been really easy for him to hang his head after that play. And like he said after the game, I'm not going to be the reason we lose this game. And he wasn't. And it just, in an era of, guys actually starting for teams and having good seasons and then going in the transfer portal and going someplace else that they think is going to be a better, more greener pasture. Here's a guy that literally hunkered down, Bulldogs. He hunkered down there. He did leave for a little while, went to junior college, but came back. And in a program where there's just nothing but 5 stars everywhere, this inconsequential walk-on is the guy that leads this team to a national championship. It's one of the best stories ever. It really is. So for all you short, slow white quarterbacks out there, you never know. You
saying I have a chance? Slow and white, I fit the bill.
My alter ego. That would have been me. That would have been me 30 years ago. Had I not had a high school coach that had 3 passing plays, that would have been me. We all have our excuses, right? But man, what a story last night. What a story. What a game. I enjoyed it. I don't know how the rest of you felt, but I enjoyed it. A lot of interesting stuff. All right, the Bucs last night, and we'll get into more. We're gonna have some sound from Stetson Bennett and Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and all the principals. We'll play for you a little bit later on in the show. Want to get to some of the other kind of interesting stories here locally, especially the injury situation right now for the Buccaneers is absolutely foremost. And we'll queue up some Arians here instead of hearing me talk about the injuries. We'll let Bruce tell you what's going on with all these guys. In a nutshell, the one we're really worried about right now is Lavonte David. He's the most important player coming back. And it's still very much up in the air. It's going to be a lot about how he practices this week and how he can handle it. It's just, it's just kind of one of those injuries. I think, pretty good chance that Shaq Barrett, and I think a lot of these other injuries like Shaq, if they needed him in the last game, they probably could have played. Leonard Fournette, JPP, I put them all in that category. But they decided weeks ago, we're just going to rest them and get to the playoffs and see if they're going to be ready to go. So I think Fournette's ready. JPP, I think Shaq Barrett, but I don't know about Lavonte David. Let's listen to Bruce Arians. Do we have that one?
This is him talking about Shaq and JPP specifically getting these guys back.
Okay. And away we go.
Yeah, they both do a good job of it. So for me, it's just having them all fresh and for the run and the pass. So to have that 4-man rotation, 5 with Cam Gill, it's just, veteran players play differently and than younger players. And sometimes they never panic. So, getting all those guys back, I think would help the run defense tremendously.
Yeah. And we're pretty sure that both of those guys are going to come back. But it looks like Lavonte David is going to be a little bit more, not as sure a thing as those guys.
Do you want him out there at 60, 70%? Because I know what my answer is.
I don't think we can win without him, given what I've seen. Now, I mean, Shaq and JPP will help the run defense as well, a little bit. They do a much better job of setting the edge than some of these other guys. And with these RPOs, you need those experienced guys that, those are guys that Jalen Hurts is going to read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
As far as giving the ball, pulling the ball, passing the ball. That's where that cat and mouse game is going to be played between JPP and Shaq Barrett and those guys on the end, typically. So, and they played them before earlier, and I thought they did a really good job against their run game and their RPO. So if we're at 100%, we're good. But Lavonte David is the smartest player on that defense, the best tackler on the defense, is the best run fit guy. He's an absolute must. So I don't know. I think without Lavonte David at least 80, 90%, it's dicey.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see where JPP's at too. We talked about it all year long, how he didn't look himself. And towards the end there, before they finally decided to shut him down, it was like he was out there as like almost a decoy. Like he's just standing there. Man. And he, you saw plays that he never made before where guys are going right by him and he wouldn't stick the arm out anymore.
Yeah, couldn't do it.
So I'm curious to see where he's at because he's kind of the only guy that doesn't have any of those like leg type of injuries.
But he's a Terminator.
Yeah.
That guy, giving him 3 weeks to rest up, I think everything just heals. It comes like the Terminator, it just grows back. I think he'll be pretty good, but we'll see. I mean, these are all question marks. There's no doubt about it. Let's get into a little bit more from Arians yesterday as he shed some light on some things this particular game. A lot of talk about Devin White, and we're talking about the run defense right now. And I think he was pretty candid about Devin White's struggles. Let's listen to that one, number 3.
Just part of the way the game is being played, all that perimeter stuff. And, he's a sideline guy, but he's getting blocked sometimes. People are they're accounting for him a little bit more. And he can play better. I think he'd be the first one to tell you, but and he might be pressing a little bit with Lavonte out. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think all of that's part of it. My biggest fear is that he can't get up blocks. He's talking about he's getting blocked. Well, that was an issue for him in college. It's been an issue in the pros, especially lately. And I don't know if you fix that in a week. I will say this about Devin. He seems to rise to the occasion like he did last year in the playoffs. In certain games where he's called out, he seems to rise to the occasion. So let's just hope that this is one of those moments where, he's being called out, people are focusing on him, and he answers the bell. We've seen it before. We saw it in the playoffs last year, so he can do it. Let's see it.
I mean, they're going to need it because, like I've said, the problem with him, and you don't even have to watch tape to see it, he's going too fast.
Yeah.
And he's going uncontrollably fast. There's no controlled body movement to it. And if you're not making splash plays, you're hurting your team at that point. And even more so, I think the last game I saw a few plays where he just kept getting blocked, like just back and back. And I would look at his body language, and it was very unlike Devin White. It was the first time I saw it where he kind of just was like, man, I just can't get off these blocks, man.
Yeah, we keep talking. Is it the injury? Because he had a little bit of a hip problem. He's not going to admit to that, but maybe it is. There are just times when, the league catches up with you. They see what you do well and what you don't do well, and they attack it. Every freaking play is monitored by 16 different assistant coaches from the other team. And if you have a weakness, they're going to exploit it. And right now his weakness is, but you know how you beat that? One of the reasons, the way you beat blocks is, and this is where I think he's in a weird place, and linebackers will talk to you about this, is between going too fast and going too slow. If you go too fast, you overrun the play. Like you say, you're not in a good position to tackle and you miss tackles. if you're too slow and the tackle catches up with you, those guys are big and they will maul you. You can't let them get their hands on you. You got to be a half step quicker to the hole so they can't get to you. So he's in that weird place of having sometimes too fast and sometimes too slow. He's got to find the sweet spot, and that's more of an instinctive thing. You watch Levante David play; he's just instinctively moving to the right spot before the tackle or the guard can get there. And he's fast, but he's also really, really instinctive. Devin doesn't have the instincts that Levante has, but if Levante's played in the league, for 12 years now. So there's still room for him to grow in that area. But this is a game that's going to test him in every way, in that way. And he's got to answer the bell, especially if Levante doesn't play. They got to get him right. So that is going to be a huge part of this game. And already you watched it on Get Up this morning. Bucks are on upset alert. Everybody's starting to look at the matchups now, and they're looking at this Eagles number one run defense, and everybody thinking, oh, well, the Bucks have been number one against the run for a couple of years now. Well, not the last month and a half. They haven't. They've been very, very susceptible to the run. Now, this is not the same, obviously, Bucks defense that played the Eagles earlier in the year and handled them. It's a way different team defensively.
And in all due respect to the Jets and the Panthers, but this is not going to be Ty Johnson and Chuba Hubbard and Amir Abdullah running at you. Yeah. It's a pretty good damn tandem of Sanders and Gainwell and Jalen Hurts, who might be the best running quarterback in the playoffs.
Yes, absolutely.
And Josh Allen ran for over 100 yards on the Bucs.
Right.
Jalen Hurts is a better runner than Josh Allen.
That's right. And speaking of Jalen Hurts, let's listen to Bruce Arians talk about the Eagles quarterback.
I thought the first half, I thought we handled it really, really well. And then the second half, it was more the offense not staying on the field and giving them too many opportunities. But then they started popping some runs. He started making some plays with his legs. And, Sam Darnold hurt us a little bit with his legs. And Jalen's a lot faster. So he presents a lot of problems. He's thrown it well. Obviously, all the read options and the RPOs that they do, it's a different style offense. So it's gonna take a hell of a concerted effort on everybody being disciplined and tackle well.
All right, to that end, he expounded a little bit more on stopping the run. Let's do number 7 for Bruce Arians.
Yeah, definitely, and we haven't done a good job the last 2 weeks because everybody's trying to go wide on us and stay away from those big guys in the middle. And we just got to do a better job of setting edges. And Anthony Nelson did a heck of a job. Played a great ball game again 2 weeks in a row. He got a game ball. So, just getting those guys back to have that rotation. And we got to get a better job of starting the game faster. We defer and we're giving up points, and we got to get that fixed.
And one of the big problems is tackling. And this is what happens with the younger players in the league, the younger players that they're playing right now. Let's hear Bruce talk about tackling better, number 8.
I think it's a combination of things. I think a bigger part of it is Levante also, just his calming influence as a leader out there, and just missed tackles. We missed some tackles out on the edges that we can't miss because they always end up as big gainers. We had a mental error on a 22-yard run last week where we just chased the passer instead of hitting the cutback with young players. So I think getting those things corrected, but we got to tackle better.
Absolutely, and that's just going to be a big part of this. And I listen. Obviously, the Bucs are favorites in this game, heavy favorites in this game. But there's nobody in that Bucs locker room that are taking these Eagles for granted in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and I know we're talking a lot about how the Bucs are going to stop the run. And the one thing we're not talking about, how are the Eagles going to stop Tom Brady?
They're not. They're not. But, I'll tell you how they're going to stop him, keeping him on the sideline.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's how you stop him. He can't throw touchdown passes when his ass is on the bench. And you're out there running the football up and down the field, eating up half a quarter. And it's like this is what happened last week. I mean, they had one possession in the first quarter, 0 yards, because the defense could not get off the field. You give up, you have one, but you defer, you give up an 8-minute drive, and then you go 3 and out and give up a 6-minute drive. You're at the end of the first quarter, you got no yards and you got no possessions. I mean, you got one possession. So that's how you beat them. And these Eagles with this offensive line, you heard Sal Powell talk about it yesterday. Their offensive line is legit.
Yes,
they are legit, and they will maul you, and they can control the game. Offensive lines win in the playoffs, and they have a really, really good one, as do the Bucs. So you would say, listen, we'll just outscore them. I know they can run the football. Well, you can't score if you don't have the ball. If they limit the number of possessions in this game to, 11, 12 possessions, and you have a holding penalty on one, you drop a third down on another, it by the time you get to the fourth quarter, it's a 3-point game and your sphincter's, pretty freaking tight right now. And that's exactly how the Eagles want to play this game. And that's what they're going to try to do. And the Bucs just cannot allow them to do it. So it's going to be a matter of, whose will is going to be imposed on the other. And this is just going to be old-fashioned smash mouth football, 1:00 Sunday, 68 degrees in Raymond James Stadium, splashed of sunshine. Be there. It's going to be a freaking big freaking deal. I thought a very interesting question asked by one of the interrogators, number 10 here. I think this was clearly the best question of the day. And listen to as the questioner expertly, while referring to Antonio Brown, never actually says Antonio Brown, so that the coach will actually answer the question.
Hey, Bruce, just looking at the way your offense played third quarter on in the Jets game, and then once they picked it up in this game, is there any sense that the distractions of last week have galvanized your team in a very real way, especially with so many different receivers? I think you had, 9 different receivers yesterday participating and getting involved?
Yeah, I think those things can do that. But I think our guys, they're just prepared. And once we figure the other team out, they're in trouble. When Tom figures you out. And we had a big play on the first play of the game, and we pick up a blitz, but we don't finish it. Or we had a big play to start the game. So little things like that. But, like I said, Jason and Spy and those guys in the front office, man, they've given us a hell of a roster. Every time the guys had an opportunity, he stepped in and stepped up. Bashard Perriman's catch, to me, was a game-changing play in that game to get at that touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, can it galvanize you? Yeah, but I think our guys are ready anyway.
I think what he's saying there is guys step up when they given opportunities. And I think without specifically saying FAB, that's what he just said.
Speaking of AB, what the hell, Ronald Jones yesterday?
Yeah, we got to bring this up. Can I say that I'm not shocked? Explain to the folks what's going on here.
Ronald Jones took to Instagram yesterday and put a nice picture of himself with the caption, "I'm from the pit, not the palace," which, if you would recall, that is the title of Antonio Brown's rap song that he released hours after his drama on the field.
Mm-hmm. And AB commented on it?
AB did. Yes, he did.
What did he do?
He put a bunch of fire emojis and said 27 Greyhound.
So you got a bad ankle, allegedly. No, Rojo's hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right? Yep, he's got an ankle injury. That's why he's not playing, right? And then we see this. You're aligning yourself with Antonio Brown. Are you effing kidding me? Like, I mean, do they think the team is not going to react to this? Like, what are you doing? What the F are you doing? You're aligning yourself with Antonio Brown against your team, basically, as you go into the playoffs, and your team needs you. If Fournette can't play, we need Ronald Jones to step up. And this is what you're doing? What the hell? What was the reaction on Twitter?
A lot of people are saying you're trying to get cut before the playoffs even begin, aren't you? A lot of people bringing that up.
What's he thinking?
Listen, Ronald Jones, remember earlier in the year we talked about Ronald Jones on Twitter when John Ledger, I think it was, posted, remember the Atlanta game?
That's right.
And he was the one that kind of told John Ledger to stick it. Yeah. And posted all his highlights from last year.
Such an AB move. Such an AB move to do.
So I don't know. There might be some issues there with Ronald Jones.
Well, listen, Ronald Jones is an extremely talented player. But the reason Ronald Jones is not playing is because Ronald Jones can't figure out protections. He's certainly big enough and physical enough to handle blitzing linebackers. He's certainly bigger than Keyshawn Vaughn. who handles it really, really well. He's, Le'Veon Bell knows what he's doing back there. But, this is the reason that Rojo has not flourished as a NFL running back. I mean, when he gets the chance to run the ball, he's phenomenal. He's a great runner of the football. But this is the difference between a mature professional like obviously a Leonard Fournette became, right? You see, as much as Sneak Vaughn has made some bad plays fumbling the football last year, but I would say in the last few weeks, he's become more reliable than Ronald Jones. And this is why Ronald Jones has not flourished, because he's not a professional football player in the true sense. He's a guy that wants to be in the NFL and wants to have all the fame and the money and will do stupid, immature stuff like this. At this particular time, how the hell do you think Tom Brady is going to trust you when you do shit like that?
And it's why he won't be here much longer.
No, he won't.
He's on borrowed time, and
he won't.
Once the season's over, it's it.
And we don't need him. If that's going to be your attitude, if that's where you're at mentally, at this point of your career, 4 years in? This point of your career, at the week, this is like Odell Beckham going to the party in Miami the week before the Sunday before your playoff game. You don't take your eye off the ball when the playoffs come. Yeah. You don't do stuff on social media that's going to get everybody talking about you and what a dumbass you are.
It's just stupid.
After
stupid.
What we just saw with AB, you're going to align yourself with that guy? Is this maybe somebody that you feel like you're being treated with your ankle injury the way he was being treated? Allegedly, we found out that was a sham. Well, I mean, we're not going to hear from Ronald Jones. They're not going to make him available. But I'll be interested to hear what Bruce Arians says about it tomorrow. I'll certainly ask him.
Be the guy to ask it.
I don't mind. Yeah, I mean, you don't think. He might say, I don't know what you're talking about, but he knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
He knows damn well what these things don't. They're a good organization. They know what's going on. And hopefully somebody, hopefully Bruce will call him in and sit him down and go, what's going on with you, man?
Yeah. And
maybe this will be the turning point like he had for Leonard Fournette. I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully. And a lot of people might be, it's just
not confident in it. But
yeah. And a lot of people are like, maybe it's just a little harmless Instagram post.
No, it's not.
It's really not.
No, it's not.
And I don't think we're making a big deal out of it. It's just.
Oh, we are making a big deal out of it. I am. I think it's ridiculously stupid. And Leonard Fournette is hurt. We don't know what we're going to need Ronald Jones in the playoffs. He could be a key player in the playoffs. I mean, a very, very key player if his head's right. Clearly, his head ain't right. I mean, and now if you're Bruce Arians or Brady, can you even trust the guy? What's he thinking? So what's AB in his ear now? And you're going to put him out there? No, you can't.
No, I can already tell you if Leonard Fournette's back for the playoffs, the guy he's going to trust after him is going to be Le'Veon Bell. Because that's the veteran.
Damn right.
That's the veteran.
That's right.
And nobody's ever accused Le'Veon Bell for being the most mature guy in the room, but compared to that guy,
and AB,
he's a soldier.
Yeah. And I know you're not a big Sneak Vaughn fan, but he's gotten his crap together. He has. He's played well. Come on.
Against the Jets and the Panthers.
And at least he's not, from the pit, not the palace.
I saw him, JP, on national television on Sunday Night Football, and he couldn't play. Those things matter to me.
When?
Against the Saints. He could not play.
It was a rough game.
Yeah. But just because you had a great performance against the Jets and the Panthers doesn't mean I'm turning my whole opinion on you.
Listen, well, he had a good college career. He's shown lots of flashes of brilliance and some moments.
Brilliance.
Yes. What about his first touchdown last year? He ran over two guys. The guy. What about the touchdown the other day?
How about his
55-yard touchdown?
How about his 4 fumbles and 12 touches last year? How about those?
That's just last year.
That brilliance.
What about that 55-yard run a couple weeks ago?
He fell down on a screen. He couldn't catch the screen.
I'm just saying he's getting better and he's got some talent. I'm not saying he's a finished product. He's got it. At this point, I trust him more than Mr. Pitt from the Palace.
If I'm playing Green Bay in Lambeau in late January, whatever, I see Keyshawn Vaughn lined up next to Tom Brady, I'm concerned.
Well, this is my point. It should be Ronald Jones. It should be a Ronald Jones who's matured into a good professional who you can count on. And instead, we got this garbage going on. I'm not okay with this. Not okay with this. It's not the time for this foolishness. Nonsense. It's nonsense is what it is. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Scott Reynolds is going to join us, and we'll get his take on the Pit and the Palace. He's definitely from the Palace. He's not from the Pit. We'll chat with Scott Reynolds next. 3-minute break. Who wants free mobile service? I do, and you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T Service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up. JP, Santa, and young St. Nick. Get us right over here. My partner for the Gold and Diamond Source. You hear that? Christmas music. It's Christmas time. You just popped the question. Your lady, the Gold and Diamond Source diamond that you got.
Yes, I did. The Gold and Diamond Source, the best place to go get your diamond for an engagement. They helped me out so much. They were so courteous to me for somebody who's so nervous. And it's Christmas time, like you said. If you're thinking about popping the question, you need to go to Gold and Diamond Source.
It's the Jewelry Supercenter, fully stocked, fully staffed, and yes, just a short drive from downtown Tampa or wherever you're coming from, right there on Ulmerton Road. Avoid the madness at the malls. And whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for that 10-carat custom design, they have it all. 9 jewelers in-house ready to make your dreams come true. Even layaways, 100% interest-free financing up to 5 years. Shop now for your best selection at the Gold and Diamond Source and make your lady wonderfully happy like Nick did. That's absolutely. Shop anytime online at thegoldanddiamond.com.
JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636 or go. Broker. They will shop your loan to dozens of banks and let them compete for your business. Quick story, one listener had a done deal with a big national mortgage company who was promising a 2.75 interest rate. Well, when it came time to lock in, it was 3.25. Emailed Scott, got him the actual 2.75, saved him over $3,000 in first-year payments and $2,200 in lender's fees. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo and the Golden Diamond Source. It's a great time to shop at the Golden Diamond Source. Their after Christmas sale is legendary. And, of course, they have the best collections of diamonds, as my host obviously knows, because that's where he got his engagement ring. Wonderful place to shop in just 10, 15 minutes from downtown Tampa, South Tampa. So just head on over to the bridge to the Golden Diamond Source and see all their incredible, unique collections right there. All right, let's bring in our good friend, Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report, the absolute Bucs Bible to go to online. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good, but I'm very much desirous to see Levante David back on the field for the Buccaneers this week, because if he does not play, I'm very concerned about the Bucs' ability to stop this number one rushing offense. And reading your 2-point conversion, I believe you agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not just Levante. Let's talk about Levante for a second, but it's also Shaq Barrett. I think both those guys are critical to coming back. But with Levante, I think you're kind of getting a 1-2 punch, because not only are you getting Levante's savvy, his instincts, his experience, his tackling ability, right? He's a very good run stuffer, has been since he came in the league. But you're also getting a guy that we hope will make Devin White better, because Devin White over these last 3 games, 4 tackles at Carolina, 2 tackles at New York against the Jets, only 3 tackles, despite playing 65 snaps on Sunday against the Panthers. To put that in perspective, KJ Britt, who came in at the very end of the game, played 7 snaps and got 3 tackles. So it's something's going on with Devin White. I don't know if he's Bruce Arians. I asked him about that in the press conference yesterday.
Yeah.
He said maybe he's trying to do too much without Levante in there. Whatever it is, I think Levante coming back gives the Bucs a 1-2 punch, because Levante's back on the field replacing Kevin Minter, who has not been good, and hopefully he makes Devin White turn back into the Devin White, at least the version that can get 10 or 12 tackles.
Are you seeing anything on tape that that teams are doing with Levante out that they won't be able to do when he comes back in terms of blocking schemes?
Yeah, I think Bruce Arians kind of identified it, but it kind of goes back to what Carolina did, and then certainly the Jets as well. They're attacking the flanks. They're going outside, and it's not so much that they're really attacking the second level linebackers. That's kind of a byproduct, right? Especially when you've seen some of these running backs get to the edge, and Kevin Minter just does not have the speed to shut the door in the corner, and they run around him and get 7, 8, 10, 12 yards, whatever. So that's a byproduct. But really, what they're doing is they're avoiding Vita Vea, they're avoiding Ndamukong Suh and Nacho and Steve McClendon, and they're really going after Cam Gill. They're going after Joe Tron-Shoyinka with some of these off-tackle plays. Anthony Nelson's done a very good job in run defense. I know he's got a sack in each of the last 3 games, but he's really shown up as a run defender. And I think that when teams see JTS out there or Cam Gill, that's kind of where they're choosing to attack. I don't blame Joe Tron-Shoyinka. He has not found a home base yet. They have played him at left end, right end. They've used him inside. And while I think this experience is kind of like a double-edged sword for him, it's made him a well-versed, well-rounded player, but he's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none right now. And so I think that they've kind of attacked the edge for that reason. And then I think too, with Devin White, he's just not simply getting off blocks. I think that he's slow to develop some plays in his head, some processing, and he's slow to identify what's happening. And by the time he does, there's a guard or center that just sealed him off. And Devin is not doing a good job of defeating blocks and making plays.
Well, let's hope he can get that back together. Do you think Levante is going to play? I mean, I'm asking to play doctor here, but I'm not exactly sure what the severity of his injury is. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. They've been a little coy. They've said a foot injury, so I don't know if it's a stress fracture in his foot, if it is a ligament issue. I don't know. I think maybe we'll try to ask Bruce Arians in the conference call if he can talk about that. Sometimes Bruce has been very forthcoming. Sometimes he's been very coy about exactly what it is. But I got to think that if there's a chance, Levante will talk a trainer into playing. It seems to me that's his nature, and he wants to be out there for the playoff game. Because listen, this is one and done, right? I mean, you have one game, and if you don't win, you go home. So I think if Levante David is 60%, he would go out there on Sunday. And JP, as you mentioned, this is the number 1 ranked rushing attack, not just with their running backs. The Penn State kid, Gainwell. it's Jalen Hurts. It's those design quarterback run plays. It's the scrambles on pass plays that go awry. And we saw what Jalen Hurts was able to do in the red zone. That's where he scares me the most.
Yeah,
is as a run pass option down there by the red zone. He had 2 rushing touchdowns back in Week 6 against the Bucs.
Yeah, we had Sal Paolantonio on yesterday. Nobody knows the Eagles better than him, and he talked about their offensive line. He loves their offensive line. He says they're mean, they're big, they're experienced, and that's offensive lines win in this time of year in the playoffs, and that's obviously the Bucs have a great defensive line, a great defense when they're all healthy, but it's what it all comes down to. And when you're running against this type of offense too, you need veteran players like Shaq Barrett, like JPP, because they're on the edge. Jalen Hurts is going to be reading them, and there's this really it's a cat and mouse game, and you gotta you have experienced players that know how to kind of disguise what they're doing. They know what you're doing, and it's tough, but you have experience doing it. It makes such a huge difference, especially at those key places on the edge and then at Levante's spot.
Yeah, you're right. And the thing too is and I agree with Rick Stroud's characterization. I do an insider show with him, and he's kind of been saying this all year. Levante David is the eraser for Devin White. He erases some of Devin White's mistakes, and he's kind of like the cleanup man. When Devin White overruns the gap, Levante there to kind of clean up the mess. And so I think that's valuable. When it comes to Shaq, we talked about the 10 sacks and his pass rush ability, and he is a dynamic pass rusher. Everybody remembers him chasing Patrick Mahomes all over the field for the Super Bowl with the sack and sacking Aaron Rodgers. Listen, at 6'1", 250, this guy's a hell of a run defender. He really is. He will stay in his gap. He's physical for his size, and he does a very good job setting the edge. He does a great job containing. I think even more so than Jason Pierre-Paul does.
Yeah.
And so I just think that they miss Shaq not just on third downs as a pass rusher, but also first and second downs as a guy that can legitimately shut down the run. Shaq hasn't played in really 2.5 games, right? Since the Carolina game at halftime when he went out.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally just got passed by Jamel Dean as the 6th leading tackler. So, I mean, for an edge guy, he was the 4th leading tackler a couple weeks ago, still finishes the season as the 6th leading tackler. That's pretty good. I mean, that's showing a lot of, tackles, a lot of opportunities there to shut down the run from his side of the field.
Scott Reynolds joining us here from Pewter Report. Well, let's talk about the Bucs offense now. Obviously, we don't know the status of Cyril Grayson right now, but as you also wrote in your 2-point conversion, this is Scotty Miller time, and this is not some kid coming off the bench that didn't play college football. No disrespect to Cyril, he did an amazing job. We'd love to have him, but this is a guy that's been there and done that. He made huge plays in the playoffs last year. The catch at Green Bay. I mean, before AB showed up, he was one of Tommy's favorite targets there in the season. So I think Miller can be a huge factor in these playoffs because obviously, now with no AB and no CG, Mike Evans is going to get a lot of attention. Gronk's going to get a lot of attention. It's kind of like in hockey, it's who wins the cup. The guy that's the team with the 3rd and 4th line that really steps up because the great players kind of cancel each other out. And I see Scotty Miller as that guy. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think Darius Slay obviously is going to draw Mike Evans, right? And then you've got to have somebody else step up. And listen, it's kind of been the wide receiver wheel of fortune, right, for Tom Brady. He spins the wheel, and and it lands on Brashard Perriman against Buffalo with a walk-off touchdown, right? And then he spins the wheel again, and it's Cyril Grayson with the 62-yard catch out there in
the Jets,
in Carolina, the touchdown with the Jets. And then last week, they didn't really need it. It just was kind of piling on a little bit, but the 33-yard end around for Scotty Miller. And I applaud Byron Leftwich for finding creative ways to get the ball in his hands. For whatever reason, Scotty Miller just has not emerged as a receiver this year, right? He has not gotten open. Maybe he hasn't gotten the opportunities, but for a lot of people, there's kind of like this misnomer that Scotty Miller was this postseason hero and that he was a favorite target of Brady. He only, I believe, got targeted 5 or 6 times in 4 games, right? And he had 4 catches for 80 yards. That was it. He had 1 catch against Washington, 1 catch against the Saints, 2 against the Packers. That's it. I mean, he only had 4 catches, but it's the impactful plays. It's the 29-yard catch he had where he kind of ducked down and got the Buccaneers in position to score points in New Orleans. It's obviously the touchdown catch right before halftime at Green Bay. So sometimes it's not about getting a guy a high volume of targets. It's what does he do with those, right? It's Brashard Perriman with that 24-yard catch down the sidelines right before halftime that got the Bucs there. So it's those impactful plays. And so if Scotty Miller only has 2 targets this week against Philly, can he make one of those big impactful plays like he did on the end around? I mean, that's what the Bucs are counting on.
Yeah, and you're so right. There's so many of these guys that are talented enough, and Bruce said it yesterday. One guy goes down, somebody else steps up, and that's a credit to Jason Light and Spytek and all these guys that have put this really good roster together. It's got depth. It's one of the things I talked about before the season is, everybody talked about bringing back the starters, and that's great, but they brought back a ton of depth too, and that's another key thing for the playoffs, right?
Yeah, it is, and. The one guy that I'm probably more concerned about than anybody else on offense is Tyler Johnson. He's going to receive more targets, especially with Antonio Brown out now. Because go back to the Carolina game. Brown was targeted 15 times, had 10 catches, 101 yards. Tyler Johnson wasn't targeted at all, and he's playing Chris Godwin's position, which typically is a high target position, that slot receiver. And it just kind of goes to show you they didn't have a lot of faith in Tyler Johnson to play that position and be that type of high volume receiver. He didn't get a single target. They kind of changed their offense around and said, we're going to feature AB and we'll throw a couple passes to Gronk, and it worked. And obviously Cyril Grayson had 3 catches for 81 yards in that game. But then now all of a sudden, AB's gone. And you saw Tyler Johnson, I think he was targeted 7 or 8 times and had a handful of catches, but he only averaged 4.4 yards per catch. And he's had a couple of drops this year. And the lack of ability to get yards after catch, he gets tackled so quickly and so easily. I'm just concerned because he's not a dynamic playmaker. And if the Bucs run into a team, and maybe it's not Philadelphia because their secondary is not that great, but later in the playoffs, where Mike Evans is blanketed and bracketed, and same with Gronk. Is Tyler Johnson going to rise to the occasion and make a couple guys miss? We saw Brashard Perriman have the ability to do that, but it's going to take either Johnson or Perriman
or Miller
or Grayson if he can come back, or Miller to really make a powerful player in every playoff game going forward.
And before you go, I'm not sure if you saw this, but my co-host here, Nick Geddes, King of Twitter, found this Rojo thing. Have you seen this where he tweeted out, "I'm from the pit, not the palace," the AB rap song that's topping the charts these days. And then AB commented on it. I mean, dude, come on. Rojo, what are you doing? At this point, as we're going into the playoffs, Leonard Fournette is still questionable. And he could, Rojo could play a huge role. But I mean, how do you trust a guy that does that on Instagram or Twitter, or whatever the hell it was? How do you trust him now? I mean, am I making too much of this? That you can't do that at the beginning of the playoffs. Align yourself with AB after what he just did to your team. Are you effing kidding me? What is that?
I'm not. It's tough, man. I'm just gonna say this: Rojo's not coming back next year.
No,
he's not
now.
Right? But he doesn't want to come back. The Bucs don't want him back, right? They don't. He is not a Buccaneer running back. He can't pass protect. He can't catch the ball. We're into year 4 now. It's you are who you are. You're not going to become better at that at this stage than Bruce Arians is not going to have any use for you. So at the same time, he didn't want to come back because he knows because he can't do those things, he's not going to see any playing time. So he wants to go be a running back. I think Rojo needs to go back. He needs to find a time machine and go back to the 80s or the 90s where a 1,000-yard running back was the holy grail. And, teams would give workhorse backs 25, 30 carries. Now that happens maybe once a week around the NFL, right? Maybe it's Jonathan Taylor. Maybe it's Joe Mixon one week, but it's not league wide like it used to be. So without that time machine, going back to that era of football where you had to establish the run to win the game, that's just not the way the game is anymore. I loved football in the 80s and 90s. My favorite player growing up was John Riggins, and then my second favorite was Christian Okoye, right on the opposite side.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that style of football, but we ain't there anymore, man. So if you can't catch the ball, if you can't pass protect, you are really devaluing yourself. And so it's kind of par for the course. I think that it's just a sign of what's going to happen, which is, Rojo's playing his last couple of games here as a Buccaneer.
Yeah. Well, and it means he's not going to have a role in the playoffs. And he could have, if Fournette's not well, we could have used him.
Oh, yeah, correct.
Yeah. So,
let's put it this way. Le'Veon Bell, what he's done in pass protection, catching the touchdown pass, getting a couple carries, showing he's got more juice than Kenyon Barner for sure. So
yeah.
I think right now, if Leonard Fournette comes back and Giovanni Bernard, keep that in mind.
I forgot about him.
They're not going to need Rojo.
Yeah.
I think those two guys come back and you pair them with Bell and I'll tell you what, maybe even Keyshawn Vaughn is inactive, right? I mean, I'm just saying.
What do you think about Vaughn?
Running back.
What do you think about Vaughn right now? Me and my co-host are having some arguments about Vaughn. I think he can be a player, but you don't have to agree with me.
I haven't seen enough yet to where I'm sold.
I'm not.
I think he is a number 3 running back, and I think with a good off season, if he really shows some improvement in training camp and the preseason, which he certainly can, right? I mean, let's give Rojo his due. Rojo looked like a bust as a rookie, and then 700 yards, as a second-year player, he looked like a credible running back that you would like to have on your roster, maybe as a number 2 back. And then last year, I mean, the guy stepped up and had several 100-yard games and looked like he was a 1,000-yard rusher in this league, not an upper echelon Pro Bowl guy that's going to hit 1,300 yards, but a guy that would. I mean, Eric Red had 1,000 yards, right? I mean, it's doable, but we just have seen the stall in progress of him as a receiver. So get to see more from Vaughn, but right now, based on what I've seen, he's a guy that you want on your roster. He is probably a number 3 back, and I think that the ceiling is there for him to possibly be a number 2 back if he really improves and has a good preseason, which is possible. So I'm not ready to give up on the guy.
No.
But is he better than Fournette? No. Can he get to that level? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not going to close the door, but I think right now, if I'm Bruce Arians, and if I'm only going to dress 3 running backs, right? If I get special teamers help elsewhere, and keep in mind, Keyshawn Vaughn does have value as a runner. So I'm not saying he can't get dressed, but if I'm only dressing 3 for this Eagles game, it's Leonard Fournette, Giovanni Bernard, if those guys are healthy, and Le'Veon Bell. And if I need him on special teams, then I dress Vaughn, and he's the 4th back.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed. All right, Parter, tell the folks how they can get all your great content, what you got going on at pewterreport.com.
Well, we got some news that the Chicago Bears now are interested in interviewing both Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles. We have that story on pewterreport.com. And that cannot happen until next week. There's NFL rules in place this year that actually the Bears can't even formally request those interviews until Monday. So there's no distraction this week for Bowles and Leftwich, no interviews this week for them or any team in the playoffs right now. So no coaches in the playoffs can interview this week. That has to wait until next week. We've got that story up on pewterreport.com plus a host of others. Follow us on our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Pewter Report, and then also on our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV, where we have podcasts at 4 o'clock on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then all day Sunday, pregame, in-game, and postgame. Follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV.
Now, at your 4 o'clock podcast, you live stream those, right? Or
we do. They're live.
Yeah.
They're live, and then we also, got those. You can't make the live showing.
You get it as a podcast, just like my show.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So we got them in video format on YouTube, on audio format on iTunes and SoundCloud.
It's the way to go, no doubt about it. Hey, Scotty, thanks so much. Really appreciate our conversation. We'll chat next week.
Always looking forward to it, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Great. Scott Reynolds, pewterreport.com. got to stop by. All right, when we come back, got a lot of other news around the NFL as we get set for a big weekend of this is such a great weekend of football. We got Monday night games. We got all kinds of great stuff. Some college football news as well. And the Times just dropped a story on the stadium. It's just very interesting. And TJ Reeves is going to join us at the top of the hour. Stay with us. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the most-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, wow the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now. So go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. We'll close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com. Who wants free mobile service? I do, and you can get 30 gigs a month from companies like AT&T Service, T-Mobile. Great service. Keep your number and get free mobile service. It's part of the emergency broadband benefit from the stimulus bill. 87% of America qualifies. So if you think you make too much money or whatever, just go to jpcares.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We appreciate you guys joining us today and every day. Our numbers are going through the roof. We really appreciate that. We appreciate you spreading the news to your sports-minded friends. Say, hey, check out JP's live stream or podcast. This is where you get it. Spotify, just search us, Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. You can always watch us live on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube page so we can get our subscriber numbers up. Also on Twitter, you can watch us, and on Facebook as well. So many places to get us. We have the app. Download the app. A lot of people are listening on the app. We appreciate that as well. Very simple app. We don't keep your information. We don't bother you with messages. It's just for listening to the show, and you can listen to it at any time. So really appreciate you guys supporting the show. And, obviously, we would love your financial support, too, as an advertiser. Soon we'll have a way where you can just contribute to the show, which would be nice. To keep it going, because it takes money to keep it going, folks. And we thank our advertisers so much. The Valspar Championship, of course, is coming up. Get your tickets now at ValsparChampionship.com. The Golden Diamond Source, great stuff going on right now. Their after holiday sale is a great time to buy. Got a gift card or get some cash, and you've been looking at some great jewelry. Go over there and just see what they got. I mean, prices are tremendous right now. They've got really unique stuff like the Juleeve collection or the Emily collection. Just check them all out. They're only 10-15 minutes from downtown Tampa, the Golden Diamond Source. And don't forget about my man Scott Fitzgerald. We're going to get him on later on this week, the best mortgage guy in the business. The dude takes a personal interest in making sure he gets you the lowest rate. He's like a competitive coach. He's like, I'm going to get him this rate, going to get him that rate. He doesn't charge you any of the upfront fees all the big banks do. And also he'll pay for your appraisal. If you mention our show, he will pay for your appraisal. That's a $500 to $700 value, and literally makes it almost free for you to go through the refi process. And you could save, thousands and thousands of dollars on your payments or rate without all those upfront fees. So just contact him, Scott@amstampa.com, Scott@amstampa.com, and he will hook you up, and just send him some information. He'll tell you what he can do for you. And rates are going up too. We don't know where they're going. So if you've been thinking about refi, don't wait any longer. Lock it in today. Scott@amstampa.com. All right. So a couple things to get to here before we get to TJ coming up real quickly. The Tampa Bay Times just put out a story, and basically Charlie Frago doing the story. It said Tampa Bay CEO's pen letter supporting the Rays split season, but what about the fans? Exactly. This is exactly what we talked about yesterday. It's great that these business leaders are supporting baseball here. We don't like them supporting a sister city plan, because that's abandoning Tampa Bay, in my opinion. And I think it's not that we want to get mad at these guys. It's we need to bring them into our fold where we want full season. And one of the things in this piece that is obviously important, we talked about this yesterday, it's the fans and the voters. See, who is this that they're quoting? Tampa City Council member Luis Vieira says the proposal to share baseball with Montreal needs more than the backing of the establishment. It has to win popular support too. This is where you guys come in. Vieira said it deserves a certain level of deference, the letter from the CEOs, but also a good majority of people I talk to are not excited about the idea. Finally, somebody saying what's obvious: the fans freaking hate it. As he continues, or Frago continues, the city council and Hillsborough County commissioners likely will have to vote on any public financing. Tampa Mayor Jane Castor said a financial package is being drawn up in conjunction with the Tampa Sports Authority, and they're going to present full season and a half season. And our message. They actually mentioned us in the story as I'm reading along here. Local sports personality JP Peterson, who was adamantly opposed to the split season concept, said on his podcast, the JP Peterson podcast, thank you for the pimp, Monday, that he wants to organize a protest march in Ybor City to signal fans' unhappiness with the idea of the Rays heading north after spring training in the first few months of the regular season. They even quoted me here. We need thousands to make a statement, Peterson said on the podcast, adding the fans are overwhelmingly against the idea. Peterson didn't release details about the march other than to say the timing has to be right. It was shocking the amount of powerful people who signed on to this, Peterson said. He said he had reached out to some of the signees who said they had been, who he said had been hoodwinked by a false narrative, in part created by the Tampa Bay Times, which he said has towed the line with Stu Sternberg the entire way. Swinging popular sentiment in favor of the idea ultimately lies with the team, Vieira said. They bear that burden. Wow, thanks, Charlie. Appreciate that. So getting some good pub from the Times, even though that's what we do. We try to keep it real here. And we're not gonna, we're listening to you, the fans. It's important that the CEOs have their support, and that's why I don't want to get mad at them. I want to bring them along, and show that this is not supporting the Tampa Bay area. It's not what the fans want, and it's not what our public officials should want. All right, quick break. We're going to get TJ Rives coming on. All right, he called the game this week because as Deckerhoff and Moore were in COVID protocols, TJ and Anthony Becht stepped up and did a fab just like the Bucs. Somebody goes down, somebody else steps up, and they nail it. And he did. Talk to TJ next.
Attention home buyers or refinance candidates. It is a great time to purchase or refinance. Home values are going through the roof right now. You've got so much equity, time to tap into that equity, get the cash, and make sure you're making the right financial decisions in your life. Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services in Tampa can help you out on all those fronts. I've known Fitz for over 30 years. He's done 3 of my mortgages. In fact, Scott has done over 3,000 loans in the Tampa Bay area for many of our coaches, athletes, from Bucks to Bulls. And he can save you big money. AMS is a wholesale broker. They will shop your loan to dozens of banks and let them compete for your business. Quick story, one listener had a done deal with a big national mortgage company, was promising a 2.75 interest rate. Well, when it came time to lock in, it was 3.25. Email Scott, got him the actual 2.75, saved him over $3,000 in first-year payments and $2,200 in lender's fees. Email him, Scott@amstampa.com, Scott@amstampa.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will be the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636, or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian.
Oh, man. I meant to go back to the spot. And stop playing.
Yeah, I tried to do this last time. We just got to delete them. Can you delete them?
Yeah, I'll delete them. I deleted them from the other ones and I missed it here. Ugh.
Great stuff right there from the great TJ Reves, and a timely cackle from his partner, Anthony Becht, as they filled in for Gene and Dave Moore. And TJ Reves joins us now. What's up, partner? How are you? Yes. Yes. You never know. But they're fine, right? They were just in protocols. Nobody's sick or ill or anything, right? Good. Right. I heard he's pretty good and meets the moment from time to time. Yeah, that was great, and you guys were fantastic. But it was an interesting game. You know, the fact is, it was the defense that was the problem early on. I mean, the offense did go, didn't do well early in their first series, but it was the defense couldn't get off the damn field, and you finished the first quarter with basically no yards because you didn't have the ball. And it's the defense that I'm a little concerned about as we go into the playoffs. I mean, we're getting guys back, but you never know if they're going to be 100%. What do you think? Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Lavonte David is really the key to me because he makes everybody better, specifically Devin White, who's struggling right now. And I think it's just, I think Bruce mentioned it yesterday that he's just, he's probably trying to pick up too much slack for Lavonte being out, trying to do too much. And, that's the kiss of death right there. In every defense, you do your job. Don't try to do everybody else's. Just do your job and everything will be fine. And I don't think he's necessarily gotten to a sweet spot with that. So I think Lavonte coming back is going to be critical, especially against a number one run defense, with a lot of trickery, a lot of misdirection. You need your experienced guys out there. No doubt. Mm-hmm. 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 And if Cyril Grayson can't play, this is the beauty of this team is that there's depth here. And got a guy by the name of Scotty Miller who came in and ran for a touchdown. Watching him run, I almost forgot how fast he is. I mean, this guy can freaking fly. He can fly, and he's gonna be. If Cyril can't go, it's good to have a guy like this who's met the moment, in the NFC Championship game with a huge catch, a deep ball. If you're a defense, you have to respect it. You've got to play a too high shell when he and Mike Evans are on the field at the same time, and that opens things up in the middle. So I'm not saying he's Antonio Brown, but he gives you an element that is legitimate. You have to respect his deep speed, do you not? Yeah. 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 Ooh, man. Yeah. Yeah, and obviously, and we talked about this earlier. How the Eagles stop the Bucs offense. Well, they keep Tom Brady and his ass on the bench by running the football. So I mean, that's the only way they're really going to do it. And that's this Jets and the Panthers had success doing it, and but this is hopefully going to be a very different defense that we see on Sunday at 1:00. And TJ, you and I have the perspective of history of this team. We've been through a lot of it. We've been covering it. You longer than I, me 20, 25 years now. And there have been very, very few playoff games at Raymond James Stadium or even home. I mean, they're very, very rare. This is a big deal on Sunday, and the Eagles are coming here, and the place is going to be packed. And this is kind of a historic moment in this franchise history. I mean, yes, we won the Super Bowl there, but Buck fans really weren't there. It wasn't all Buck fans. It wasn't even a full house. This is a big, big deal, is it not? Yes. Yep. Huge. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was freezing my ass off in this. Oh yeah, closing down the vet, bro. Well, I'll tell you. Speaking of sidelines, I'm down there on the sidelines before the game as they're warming up, and toast to a Philly fan right now. This was a week after Joe Jurevicius tragically had his infant son pass away, and there was Philly fan, in full regalia, first row, yelling at Joe Jurevicius, "Hey, how's your son doing?" Yeah. Yeah, there's Philly fan for it. So that kind of gives you an aura of what that place was all about that particular day. Just reprehensible people. So I'm not broad brushing, but some of those people are just freaking out of their mind, crazy nutballs, horrible people. Yes. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. One of the greatest sounds ever. Yeah, they know it's. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we're down on the field. Well, it's not that the silence is deafening, no doubt, but it's that little pocket of people celebrating. on the sidelines that you can hear. It's like this, a cavernous place where they're just like, oh, and you can just hear like, woo, everybody, all the Buck fans whooping it up, and the sideline. It was just a very, very interesting, kind of surreal. And then the game went on for a few more minutes, and it was just this unbelievable feeling as a Buccaneer, because you're going to the Super Bowl and getting the hell out of Philadelphia and going to San Diego on a direct flight. That was me. Down. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Johnson, the in the home opener 2018 against the Eagles. You go back to Jameis Winston throwing 5 touchdown passes in 2015 to blow the Eagles out in Philadelphia. Those are the last 3 games in the immediate series. So Philly fan has nothing on the Buccaneers in recent memory. Pipe down.
Interesting. Listen, this Philadelphia rivalry is it goes back many, many years, and it's real. But this, listen, this Buccaneer team is way better than this Eagle team. I'm not gonna say it shouldn't be a game. It's a playoff game. They got a great offensive line, but I would really, we haven't won a playoff game in Raymond James Stadium since the 49ers in 2002. Since 2002. I mean, I was at that game. That was All-Star. That was.
You want a story? While we're
Brad
reminiscing,
Johnson.
You want a story from that one?
Yes,
you want a
of
story
course.
from that one?
Of course.
So I was not on game broadcast here, and that morning we were flying back from a USF Bulls basketball game, because you remember I was doing the Bulls on the radio for 10 years with Seth Greenberg. We had played somewhere. I honestly cannot remember where the Saturday night conference game was the night before. We're flying back Sunday right at lunchtime, and my colleague Jim Lighthall, who's now been part of the Bulls radio broadcast for 25 years, and Jim is still doing the play-by-play. We are in the same row flying back. We're landing about kickoff time, and about 5 minutes before landing, as we're coming around a south landing pattern past McDill, and a lot of your listeners that have flown, you can come into Tampa either from the north or from the south, obviously. So we're coming in from the south this day, from wherever we've been flying from on the pattern, and all of a sudden the flyover planes are off the west wing of the plane, and the plane briefly shakes for a second.
Oh, no.
Because it's like a scene out of Top Gun, brother. So we were part of the flyover inadvertently while we're landing, and so the stadium obviously shook on the flyover, and the Bucs jumped all over Jeff Garcia, Terrell Owens and company. The Juravicious, great catch, speaking of him, for a touchdown. By the time we landed, got in the car, got to the stadium with the credential to get in the game, it was already like 14-0 or 17-0 that day. So I was not part of the beginning of that playoff game, but I was part airborne of the flyover on our commercial flight as the Jets from wherever they were from roared by us, my friend.
Cool story. It's going to be a fun weekend, fun weekend, and certainly to enjoy this playoff game, my friend. And whether you're in the booth or on the sideline, it's going to be historic, and I can't wait to see this, beautiful weather, sunshine, 68 degrees. This is what it's all about, and I'm glad that we're going to have a full house, and the fans are going to enjoy a playoff game for the first time since 2002. So that's 20 years by my count.
And again, it's a message to everybody out there that has a ticket and to be able to get in. Get there and be loud and be bonkers.
And don't sell your tickets
to Eagle fans greatly Well, and you can influence greatly what's going on at the beginning of the game. This is Jalen Hurts' first playoff game coming up, and it's on the road, and you got a chance to greatly influence that with the noise and the 12th man factor and all of that. This is why the team has worked this hard to be able to get a single home playoff game, and now has the chance at 2 of them if they win. Take advantage of this.
Oh, absolutely.
You're needed.
Yes,
I know Bruce
get
Arians
there
will be
early.
saying that too, and so will Tom Brady coming up.
All right, my friend, tell everybody how they get your great content, all the stuff you got going on.
Thank you, as always. The Nothing But Bucks podcast is out, a full recap of the regular season win over Carolina. Recognize the guy filling in for Gene. The highlights on that was truly bizarre, too.
Yeah.
On the podcast, I'm saying, okay, now we go to this highlight, and it's me calling the highlight. But that's what we had to make work. Again, we anticipate Gene and Dave are going to be back ready to go to call the game this week. We're on the air at noon. Regular kind of normalcy with the playoff scenario here, that we're on at noon on Buccaneers Radio, 98 Rock in the local market, but everywhere in West Central Florida. You can hear it on the Buccaneers mobile app, Buccaneers.com. And we're looking forward to this at 1. And it's going to be exciting stuff. And I'll be part of the post-game coverage, hopefully the happy celebration, and talking about the next playoff game at home and all of that coming about 4:30, 5 o'clock Sunday afternoon. Let's get after it with the Eagles, my friend. It's always great to be with you. And it was a wild end of the regular season, but this is the best part. This is what you play for.
Here we
This is
go.
what it's all about. Here we go.
It's going to be fun. Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it, buddy. We'll catch you up next week.
All right, guys.
All right.
Look forward to it.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll get more into this latest column by the about the Rays in the Tampa Bay Times that quoted yours truly, quoted our show, and gives us a nice voice to start our resistance against the Sister City plan, or continue our resistance. We'll talk about it next. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth wow the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
JP, Santa, and young St. Nick. Get us right over here. My partner for the Golden Diamond Source. You hear that? Christmas music. It's Christmas time. You just popped a question to your lady from the Golden Diamond Source diamond that you got.
Yes, I did. The Golden Diamond Source, the best place to go get your diamond for an engagement. They helped me out so much. They were so courteous to me for somebody who was so nervous. And it's Christmas time, like you said. If you're thinking about popping the question, you need to go to the Golden Diamond Source.
It's the Jewelry Supercenter, fully stocked, fully staffed, and yes, just a short drive from downtown Tampa or wherever you're coming from, right there on Ulmerton Road. Avoid the madness at the malls. And whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for that 10-carat custom design, they have it all. 9 jewelers in-house ready to make your dreams come true. Even layaway, 100% interest-free financing up to 5 years. Shop now for your best selection at the Gold and Diamond Source and make your lady wonderfully happy, like Nick did. That's absolutely. Shop anytime online at thegoldanddiamond.com.
Well, it's never been more important to support each other and support local businesses like Italiano Insurance that has been around for over 60 years, serving our community with great customer service and also giving back to our locals in need. Their Metropolitan Ministries Holiday Food Drive was another tremendous success this year. Why call a 1-800 number when you can call your trusted neighbors at Italiano Insurance who will save you money? In Boca Grande, 941-964-0400. That's 941-964-0400.
Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? you go to defylava.com. The folks at defylava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at defylava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at defylava.com. Get left behind, folks. Make some money at defylava.com.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
There's a flag near the line of scrimmage. Bennett says it's on Bam. I think they hit it. I think they hit Stetson Bennett after he released the football. Jordan Battle on a blitz came through and hit Stetson Bennett in the face. You had a feeling the guy as talented as Brock Bowers, who's made an impact from the moment he arrived on campus, had a big game in the opener.
And that was a big touchdown last night for Georgia, and a great play by Stetson Bennett to Bowers, the young freshman tight end, the baby Gronk, as they like to call him. That kid is phenomenal. And Georgia comes away with a huge 33-18 win in the national championship game. And 41 years of futility for the Georgia Dog Nation. Finally, they win a national championship. So many talented teams along the way. Mark Richt was winning 10 games a year, couldn't get it done. Nick Saban has been their nemesis forever. And finally, a young kid by the name Baby-Faced Assassin, Stetson Bennett, a walk-on, had to go to junior college. All these five-star recruits that have come through as quarterbacks, Justin Fields and so many others, JT Daniels, another five-star on the sideline watching this kid get the job done. And he made some big throws and made a couple of big mistakes, but rebounded well. And Georgia is your national champion. I said yesterday I thought Alabama was going to roll them, just like the SEC championship game. You were strongly in the Georgia camp. So thank God the Hard Rock app is not working anymore. I saved myself some money.
Oh, a lot of people are about to lose, buddy. If you bet the over on that game, the first half, chances are you were not having a good time with a nice 9-6 score.
Ooh, but it eventually went over, though.
I think it did go over, 33-18.
Yeah, I would think. I don't remember what the exact number was.
I think it was under 50 for sure.
Did the pick six take it over?
It might have put it. I think it might have put it over.
Oh, wow.
It might have put it over.
Good win.
Kirby was yelling for him to go down.
He was. As soon as he caught the ball. Did you see the hops on Kirby?
Hey, he was an athlete back in his day.
The hops on Kirby, like they showed it on the replay. His feet were like box jump high. Like, way up there, and then he's like yelling at him to get down. That kid was like, I'm going to the house.
Kirby Smart yesterday was like a fan to me.
He
felt like a fan, and I think he went to Georgia, right?
Yeah, he played for Georgia.
Yeah,
played for Georgia.
He just
coached
felt like
in
a
Alabama,
huge fan.
played for Georgia. Yeah. And really, and I've always kind of criticized his sideline demeanor because I think he's out of control at times, and you can't. I think it's hard to tell your team to keep their composure when you're losing yours all the time. But then again, the other side of that is a game of emotion. It's a game of these stoic coaches on the sideline, the completely stoic ones like Willie Taggart. Just drive me nuts. Your team is playing so horrible out there, and cut away to the coach, and his arms are folded. He's not even talking to anybody, just arms folded on the headset. Blank look in your eyes. I mean, get over there and coach your freaking team.
That game was already sealed away by the time we had the final score. It was 20 seconds left, and Kirby Smart's yelling at his defense to line up and be ready to sack the quarterback. And I'm like, bro, the game's over.
Enjoy it, will you? For God's sakes. For God's sakes.
But again, that we saw remember the halftime video we played about halfway through the year? Where they were up by 3 touchdowns. And
that was great.
They weren't up by enough, and he absolutely
against Florida,
laid one. Against Florida.
That halftime speech, that was phenomenal.
Yeah, and now you know why these coaches, both of those coaches, Saban and Smart, were there.
Yeah, they're both excellent coaches. But I always thought that Kirby was not the best game coach. Like he prepares his team extremely well. Great emotion, but I thought he's just made too many mistakes. I mean, look at the numbers. He's 0 for 4 against Bama. Georgia as a team had lost 7 straight to Bama. Saban, what happened in the SEC championship game was a smack in the face. I mean, that was a beatdown. It was shocked everybody. And to me, it just kind of felt like Georgia wasn't as good as we thought they were. But last night they put all that to bed. They put all of it. They played a physical brand of football, and Alabama met their physicality. That was a brutal game last night, physically brutal game.
Well, they made Bryce Young uncomfortable, and he hasn't been. We haven't seen that much this year. Texas A&M got to him a little bit, where he threw 2 interceptions, and they got to him certainly last night, and he had to throw a lot of off-balance throws.
Yeah.
But to give credit to him, I thought some of the throws he made were some NFL throws.
Big time.
I mean, you go ahead and pencil him in for number 1 pick next year easily. The throws he was making.
Will Anderson's not the number 1
pick.
pick.
One of those two is going to be the number 1 pick. But I mean,
so you're saying Alabama's going to be good next year too?
They're going to be even better next year, probably. Let's be honest.
Yeah, some of these guys that were injured this year they lost their top 2 corners. They were down to like their 4th and 5th corners. Yeah. They injured Alabama. Look, I know the next guy up is a 5-star. I get that, but it's still not the same player. So they dealt with a lot of injury issues. I mean, hats off to Alabama. Can we hear from Stetson Bennett, the baby-faced assassin that took down the great Alabama Crimson Tide?
Stetson, when you were 3 years old, you told your dad you'd be the starting quarterback at Georgia. How does your resilience and your fight keep you in this moment ready to win right now?
I mean, I just knew there was going to be no way we were going to let a turnover like that stop us from winning a national championship. There's no way I wasn't going to let that happen. I wasn't going to be the reason we lost tonight.
After that turnover, you went 3 for 3 on the next drive. How did you get your mind turned quickly to that?
I had to. Otherwise, we were going to lose because they were up. They capitalized on that, and I was like, well, I gotta fix this.
So many times they tried to recruit over you. You thought about leaving, but you stuck around.
Yep.
Why?
Because I love this place. I love this team. I believe in myself. I think I'm the best quarterback. And, I just love everything about this place, and I want to win a national championship here.
What does your story and your stick around, your fight, your attitude say to all of the underdogs, all of the walk-ons out there?
I mean, I have no clue. I hope it's, give somebody a little hope. Just keep fighting, keep your mouth shut, work hard. Life's tough. You just got to fight through it.
What was the toughest moment that you went through, that you stuck through and came out the other end?
Just all the ups and downs, man. But these guys, I mean, I don't even know what to say right now. I have no idea.
You were crying on the sideline, so emotional.
Yeah.
How did that all bubble up within you?
It just hit me. It just hit me. I didn't even watch Keeley score. I thought he went down right when he caught it. Because as soon as he caught it, I just teared up. I just wasn't planning on it. I mean, good Lord. Wow.
I say that the current weeping like a baby on the sideline was maybe not the greatest look, but
I loved it. I love that. He's the little guy that overcame it all.
Okay. I love the story. Don't get me wrong. I love the story, but I don't know.
And I love the quote. I think the money quote there about, to everybody else that might have taken the route that I took, just keep fighting, shut up, play hard, life's tough.
I love that.
I hope
that's going to be his campaign slogan when he runs for governor. Right there. No, seriously, that is a great quote. Life's hard. Keep going. But nobody wants to say that anymore. It's not about, persevering and working your ass off. It's just wait till somebody hands me something.
Well, I mean,
I'm entitled.
This guy is clearly cut from the old cloth.
He is.
I mean, you saw the photos of him going around with the flip phone.
Yeah,
he has a flip phone. I mean, this guy was made to say something like that. And I'm here for it. And he's still got one more year of eligibility. I wonder if he comes back or go out on top. And you could do whatever you want in the city of Athens now.
Yeah, it is going to be a great story. Like, having been in Atlanta for a couple of years, and I used to go, I used to drive over to Athens every Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever their media day was. So I'd go over there and I'd spend kind of the day in Athens. After we did a morning show in Atlanta, so I'd drive over there. Beautiful city, great, in a great athletic facility and department there, just amazing place. And you really get a sense of, Georgia is a very, very provincial type of school. I mean, they have hardcore fans, and if you're not a Georgia Bulldog fan, you hate them. They're obnoxious. I'm not going to lie. They're obnoxious, but they are passionate fans, and they love the history of their program. I mean, anybody who's ever done anything in a big game, the Larry Munson calls, are just legendary, and it is kind of a throwback. It's Georgia football. It's slobber knocker football. It's work your ass off. Everything that he embodies, really. I think that's why they love him, and he will be a folk hero forever in the state of Georgia. He could, like Herschel Walker. He's Herschel Walker without all the muscles and and exceptional play. I mean, he was a good player. He showed up big in the biggest moments. The throw to AD Mitchell, the throw to Bowers, those were big freaking plays. It wasn't like he was just gifted this season. I know they had a great defense, but that game they needed him to make plays. He stepped up.
And for a guy like that, where the entire media was saying you can't win a national championship with him.
Everybody said, why are they not playing JT Daniels? Why are they not playing him? He's the guy, blah, blah, blah.
And even the whole fan base. His own fan base never even bought into him.
True.
But it just tells you every player on that team, nothing but good things to say about him and the way they huddled around him yesterday. I mean, that's what sports is.
Yeah, it's a great story, man.
It really is a fantastic story. And how about this, too? I mean, you got the Braves that won 2 months ago.
Yeah.
You get the Georgia wins this. I mean, is this undoing some of the So what's happened in the past years?
It was a cursed fan base. Atlanta and Georgia was a cursed fan base. And here come the Braves, who win 88 games in the regular season and win a World Series. Could have been us with Charlie Morton, by the way. Thanks to Sternberg for that. And then Georgia vanquishes their nemesis finally. I mean, the Falcons ain't going to get it done this year, but they maybe it'll be their year next year. Atlanta United, right? Their soccer team just won a championship, a year and a half ago? Yeah. So maybe that was the start of the good Mo.
I see some parallels between the city of Tampa and the state of Georgia right now in sports. I think there's something similar there. And literally the last few championships, it's all Georgia and Tampa right now.
Yeah, the South.
The South is running this right now.
The South is really the place to be right now. Like Northeast elitism is.
Yeah, you keep worrying about the New Yorks and all. See how they're doing.
Not flourishing in any way, shape, or form.
No,
none, not at all. By the way, did you see the story? The CDC director come and say that we're now going to do a deep dive into the 836,000 deaths from COVID and see which ones are from COVID and with COVID. And her assumption was it's at least 75% are not from COVID. You understand what that means, right? First and foremost, this means we knew this back in March of 2020. And if this is what they come out with, then what we're saying is this was nothing more than a bad flu year. And we wrecked our countries and institutions for it. Just a small little tidbit there. Just to throw out. And we knew it then. And all those things we said in March of 2020, that people said we were crazy, you're a nutball, you're a conspiracy theorist, all that. All of it, the U.S. Army, the United States military put out their report on where COVID came from. You know what they said? Funded at the Wuhan industry, in the Wuhan lab, and financed by Anthony Fauci and the NIH, which we told you back in March of 2020. Bit of a game changer, I would say. Bit of a game changer. All these conspiracies, what's the difference between a conspiracy and the truth? About a year, apparently. And now it's all coming out. And all of this planned out to a T. Crazy people. Well, maybe not so crazy. All right, we'll take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to wrap up the national championship game. We got a special guest going to join us. Big charity event coming up here. Our local Tampa Catholic folks got a little good stuff going. Our good friend Coach Pete Mulley will join us. We'll talk about that. And we'll also look ahead to the latest from the Buccaneers as they get set to take on the Eagles. Stay with us.
Attention home buyers or refinance candidates. It is a great time to purchase or refinance. Home values are going through the roof right now. You've got so much equity, time to tap into that equity, get the cash, and make sure you're making the right financial decisions in your life. Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services in Tampa can help you out on all those fronts. I've known Fitz for over 30 years. He's done 3 of my mortgages. In fact, Scott has done over 3,000 loans in the Tampa Bay area for many of our coaches, athletes, from Bucks to Bulls. And he can save you big money. AMS is a wholesale broker. They will shop your loan to dozens of banks and let them compete for your business. Quick story, one listener had a done deal with a big national
.info and find out. It'll take you a few minutes. jpcares.info to find out if you qualify for free cell service. Get it now before it's all used up.
The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Wow, the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and need a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636, or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and the community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
Fanstream Sports.
All right, welcome back. Appreciate you joining us here on the JP Peterson Show. We are brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo, fighting for your rights and protecting your home in sinkhole, hurricane, roof damage, defective stucco, and construction defects. He will fight the builders as well as the big insurance companies, making sure you are getting what you deserve. Let Chris Palermo fight them for you, handling both residential and commercial cases. Call Chris at 813-221-5636 or at PalermoPA.com. That's 813-221-5636 or PalermoPA.com for a free consultation. All right, we want to welcome in a good friend of the show, Coach Pete Mulley, former Tampa Catholic State Championship coach. He's got a big event coming up this week. What's up, Coach? How are you?
How are you, JP? How's everything?
It's fantastic, my friend. Always love talking to you. The paragon positivity that you are, always bringing a smile to everyone's face. And you got a big event coming up Wednesday night. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on and what you're doing.
Well, on Wednesday night, appreciation night for all the folks that helped the Peter J. Mulley Foundation, our books, our literacy and mentoring program in the public schools. The event will hold Saturday, the Stars of the Future event at the Tampa Catholic Complex. our college Aces Nation program for young kids to gain points so they turn into dollars when they graduate. And just any way, JP, we can help the youth in our town to become better and to have more skills in their toolbox.
Yes, absolutely. And, I've been honored to speak at some of your events, and you always get a great turnout, not only of kids to listen, but great folks to help out, like Ken Erickson, Michelle Smith, Ali Carta. Talk a little bit about the event you got coming up with them.
Well, we're going to do that tomorrow night, and what we're going to do, we kind of changed it a little, JP, and we're going to make it more of a female sports kind of show.
Nice.
And where are we with sports in America? Just Ken doing the tremendous job he does with USA Softball and USF, and these two young ladies that are absolutely have put our USC Softball team on the world map. But where we are with sports in America, there's been so many changes, whether it be the portal, whether it be this, whether it be that. Kids can transfer where they want in high school. Where are we with travel ball? Where are we with this, that? And it's going to be an interesting, here are gifted athletes that have gone through the gamut, travel ball, high school, summer ball, college ball, USA softball, and to see and to hear their prospects of where we are. So, and just a little different look at it, JP. Yeah. And then also, who's a friend of the show, Xavier Scruggs is going to come. He's going to be the master of ceremonies tomorrow.
Beautiful.
And he's such a great man today in diversity, where we are in sports in America. Just where's our diversity? Where are we going with that? So it's going to be kind of a different look at sports in America. And so we just want to reward all the people that have helped our foundation get down the road.
Awesome stuff. Coach Pete Mulley joining us here, former baseball coach at Tampa Catholic, state champion there. Coach, it is a different kind of, from back when you were coaching to what it is today. What kids have to deal with. I mean, so many of these high school players are now, national personalities. I mean, because of social media, there's a lot of pressures on social media, a lot of pressures on kids. Now we have transgender athletes coming in, and a lot of people in women's sports are just apoplectic about what's going on there. I mean, this ain't 1985 anymore. There's a lot of things that these athletes have to deal with. What is your perception of what's good and what's bad now in youth sports?
Well, I really, JD, I just have a problem, with if we're, I think the major problem seems to be surrounded by swimmers.
Yeah.
And it's do we really have a female Olympic team with our swimmers? Do we have a men's team with our swimmers?
Right.
And I have a hard time, and maybe I'm old school, but I have a hard time. Here are young ladies that have probably worked their tails off to get to where they are, and then we're going to put a swimmer in there that they can't swim against. They can't.
Who's 6'3" with a man's body?
Absolutely.
I mean, come on. It's ridiculous.
And I just think that, and if that's where we are, then let's make a third group.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
a fourth group, so we can even out the competition. And we talk about parity in many sports. Well, where's the parity in that?
There's not.
And I just don't get that.
No, I don't either. And I'm all, again, everybody that says this is, supposedly against transgender rights. And that's not true at all. This is a very complex thing. And some of the stuff that's going on right now is just, it's not fair to women's sports. I mean, you talk to people that have championed women's sports forever. I mean, there's a woman who's a USA Swimming, who's been, championing USA part of women's swimming for 30 plus years, who quit her job and said, I'm not going to stand
Correct.
for this. I mean, I'm not going to, you're
Correct.
destroying women's sports by allowing these men to become female athletes. And I don't care what their testosterone levels are. When you're 21 years old and you're 6'3", you have a man's shoulders and a man's body and a man's strength. And it's not fair to the women. I mean, this to me shouldn't even be debatable, really. But in this crazy world we live in, people don't want to speak up. They're afraid to speak up because they're going to get shouted down. And we should not be afraid. Again, this is not an anti-transgender or anything like that. This is pro-female sports. And I think there's a difference.
Well, and JP, what I don't want to happen is here young ladies or young men who are, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, like most of the kids that are coming Saturday, and they get discouraged early because, well, why should I work and get to this point? And then I know I can't compete against this, so I won't get started with it.
Right, exactly. Well, absolutely terrible. But, there are so many positive things that still work for sports, and there's so inspiring stories. We saw the kid last night at Georgia, Stetson Bennett. Everybody said he couldn't do it, shouldn't be there, and he stuck through it for years and years and years, and he fought hard. And what was the quote last night? You just had my co-host here is my brains. What was the quote from Stetson Bennett?
I believe it was just work hard and keep going, and life's hard, but you got to keep going.
Yeah, just work hard, and it's that never stops, right, Coach? That's a great strategy, no matter what you're doing in what era, right?
No, absolutely. And the thing about our world, we spend so much arguing about old school and new school. It's not about that. It's about life skill.
Yes.
Life school.
Yeah.
And what you need to have to become a better person in society. Get up every day, learn how to do your job. If you get a few setbacks, you know how to come back against that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, when I look back on sports, JP, and I know you feel the same way. If it wasn't for sports, a lot of us would be pumping gas in Jersey.
That's right, 100%. I wouldn't have been able to enjoy the career that I've had. Certainly, it's been my life.
And me either. And so I hate to see sports lose its ability to help people get into the real world and function.
Yes.
Function correctly in the real world.
And that's what you've been teaching for a long, long time with your foundation. It's teaching life skills through sports. So, very few people become professional sports or sportscasters. But the life lessons that you can learn from from sports are invaluable to becoming a very positive part of society, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's like this Saturday, and please tell people you're going to be the closing speaker come Saturday, and we're tickled about that. But our main thrust on Saturday, we want to give instruction, but we want our 7 to 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds. Our highlight is teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a world, especially with COVID, that we're frozen. We don't know whether to take a step up or take a step back or sidestep or whatever. And we got to rely on other people. We got to be a part of the team, whether it's a 20-man baseball team or a Tampa community or a foundation. That's all teamwork.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have other people to help you get down the road, I don't know if you're ever going to get down the road.
I get it. All right, Coach, we got about a minute left. How can people get involved? Can they still come to Saturday's events? What's the deal?
Absolutely. Absolutely, brother. People can sign up at the Peter J. Mulley, and that's MULRY, foundation.org, Peter J. Mulley Foundation.org. And they can come. We're going to have a parents program, kids program, food, just a swag giveaway at the end. So it'll be great. We had the skit last year and do virtual, but this year we're back out. And I think we're going to have a tremendous day and a tremendous program.
Should be fun. And we'll get all that out on social media as well. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time. We'll catch up with you.
All right, brother. Take care. Have a great day.
All right. We'll see you. Great. Peter J. Mulley Foundation.org. Go there and sign up. All right. Been fun today. Thanks to Scott Reynolds for joining us. TJ Reeves, great stories, great information on the Bucs Eagles coming up this weekend. Do not sell your tickets, folks. And please check out the Tampa Times article today by Charlie Frago, quoting yours truly, your favorite show here. And finally, giving voice to the fans. That's what this is all about, giving voice to the fans. Yes, it's important to have corporate support, but the fans have the bigger voice. Don't forget that, and we're going to make our voice heard. More details to come as we get everything put together. We appreciate you joining us each and every day right here on the JP Peterson Show YouTube. Don't forget, we can also have our app, our dedicated app. You can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Have a great day, everybody. Go Bolts tonight against Buffalo. See you there.